So I have two suggestions. The first is that so many of us, and especially white people, live segregated lives. And so the first thing I would say is stop living segregated lives. There was a study that was recently shared where they found 75% of white people to this day in the 21st century, 75% of white people have zero friends who aren't white. Okay, so if you want your children to be anti-racist, if you want your children to fight for racial justice and to care about these issues, then you have to commit too. You know, children are really good at identifying hypocrisy, unfairness, and double standards. They're really good at, you know, sussing that out and pointing that out in adults. So whatever you expect of them or desire of them, expect that for yourself. Desire that for yourself. Don't put the responsibility on schools to teach your children to care about these things or to know about this history, because they're not doing it and they won't. So you really need to take the wheel as parents. It's part of your responsibility. Take the wheel, share the wheel. If you're new to this journey, then bring, you know, ask your child to join you along on this journey and learn together. A good place to begin is Michelle Silverthorn. She has a Medium article called "Mom, Why Don't You Have Any Black Friends?" And the subtitle is, "Before you talk to your kids about race, answer this question." So, and in it, she provides kind of an inventory that you can take for yourself of to point out where are the places where in your lives that is segregated, so that you can be more integrated. And then the second thing is, I'm going to quote post-colonial scholar Jackie Alexander. And she says that we need to become fluent in each other's narratives, in each other's histories. So for white people, you need to become fluent in the narratives of people of color. For people of color, we know the history and narratives of white people, right? I mean, that's what we're taught. So for us, we need to know the narratives of other communities of color. And for the rest of us, you know, we need to be fluent in the narratives of those identities in which you don't occupy a dominant position. So for example, if you're cis, we need to become fluent in the narratives of gender nonconforming and trans people. If you're straight, we need to become fluent in the narratives of LGBTQI folks. If you're able-bodied, we need to become fluent in the narratives of disabled people. So to become fluent, it requires that we educate ourselves for sure, but it also requires us, and I'm gonna circle back here to what Margot began with, which is we have to activate that knowledge that we're accruing and build. And how do you activate that knowledge? You build relationships. So it's not just about reading a book or two. It's about reading a lot of books and forming and building relationships with those people, implementing all the things that you've been learning from those books. So, and the thing is, one last thing, we have to be intentional and deliberate about this, because our society is structured in such a way, again, especially for white people, it's that we are segregated, that we're living like this with blinders, you know, in our own little bubbles. And so we have to be purposeful and go out of our way to connect with people who are different from us.
Yeah.